I didn't think there'd be vampires on campus.
We must have been at about 40,000 feet when it happened.
What was that?
You are the Slayer. One girl in all the world.
Did anybody see that?
Yeah.
Guess what? I feel better.
Guys, where are we?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was great. It was tasty. We made lots of food and desserts.
Oh, me too. Well, no, we got a rotisserie chicken, so we didn't make it. But I ate a chicken.
You bought it already rotisseried?
Yes.
Yeah. We rotisseried ours. Actually, it didn't rotate. It just roasted, like in a roasting pan. Very exciting. But yeah, it was good. How was yours?
It was good. It was just Dave and I, and we had my uncle over. Mm-hmm. My uncle who lives like a couple streets away from Dave and I.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was just the three of us.
Cool.
Did you guys were just at home?
Yeah, we just hung out at home, made lots of food. We watched the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving thing, which one of our listeners actually talked to me about. How I guess I talked about how I don't like the Charlie Brown shows in one episode.
I think we talked about the Halloween one.
Okay. Yeah.
And I concurred that I was not really into Charlie Brown either.
Right.
So you got told.
Well, the kids wanted to watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving one, so we agreed because we have it on Blu-ray. I was like, okay, sure, we'll put it on. And I'll tell you what, they loved it. They were over the moon for this show. They were laughing out loud at all of Snoopy and Woodstock's antics. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, you know what? This show is good for kids, and they like it. And I eat my words.
Well, I mean, you can still not be into it.
That's true, but I was into it this time just because the kids were into it. It brought me joy.
Aww.
So
that's such a nice dad thing.
Yeah. So I was
You're
like,
dad.
okay, so maybe I do like this Charlie Brown thing, but I more like it just because I like to watch the kids watch it, you know?
Yeah. That's so sweet.
Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
Did you watch anything on Thanksgiving? Planes, Trains, Automobiles?
Actually,
Buffy?
we watched
reruns?
We watched our movie club movie of the week, which was Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, yes. I watched that the day before Thanksgiving.
So, perfect holiday movie.
Oh, yeah.
Just a lot of great, heroism and love and family dynamics.
Yes, lots of things to be thankful for in Reservoir Dogs, for sure.
Thankful that I, haven't had my ear hacked off.
That's true. It's always good to be thankful for both ears.
So, yeah, that's what we watched. But we did watch, I think it was either the day after, I think it ended up being 2 days after we put up our fake Christmas tree, or I like to call it our Yule tree. Because I celebrate Yule. We took out all of our string lights and all of them were busted. None of them lit up. Tried them in a bunch of different outlets. And I was like, every year this happens.
Yeah, this happens to me too. It's so frustrating.
And I think it's probably because I buy the cheap lights. So This year we bought like the LED ones, the ones that say that like even if a bulb is busted, the rest will still work.
Are they expensive?
Yeah, they were expensive. They were like $30.
Ew. See, this is why we buy the cheap lights. Because $30, you can't really swing that for lights. Come on. You use them for like 3 weeks of the year.
But if I don't ever have to buy lights again, or even if I don't have to buy because I think like on average I'm spending $10.
Yeah.
So as long as they last me at least 3 years, then it'll be fine.
Make sure your cat doesn't chew through them.
It's very funny. She has been like looking at the tree.
Yeah, she's
and
been
she
sizing
like,
them up. She's
she
like, meow, meow, meow,
started...
meow, 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 meow. I'm going to eat those lights.
I don't think she's really into the lights. There's just like some of the ornaments that she's into. Like any of the ones that look like little plush cat toys. Those are the ones that she's into. So we usually put those up a little bit higher. And this time... we caught her maybe twice, like like to paw at it.
Start to bat her little mitt at it.
Yeah, we either yelled at her or sprayed her with our little like squirt spray bottle that we have of water, and then she stopped. So now every once in a while, like yesterday, I was eating dinner and she just like went and sat in front of it and was like looking up at it.
Just thinking about it.
like, is it worth the
Do
spray?
I get the spray bottle? Yeah.
So, but she hasn't touched it since then. So
Okay.
when we started putting it up, we decided to watch Home Alone.
Oh, great movie.
I know, because I was like, I haven't seen this in a long time, and I had
So
watched
good.
the movies that made us Netflix thing on it. So I was like, I
Yeah.
kind of want to watch this. Have you put up any decorations?
My wife and kids, while I was working the other day, I think they were just looking for something to do. So they put up our fake tree because we opted for the fake tree this year. And
Oh, you usually get like a fresh one?
sometimes. Last year we did not.
You go out and murder a tree as a family?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great tradition. So yeah, we did not murder a tree this year or last. I looked at it and I was like, you know what? This is all we need. It's a nice size fake tree. It's nice and thin, small profile.
Yeah, I've had mine for, I don't know, like 10 years or something.
Yeah, they never die.
And
It's so
yeah,
weird.
they never die.
Yeah.
It's great. Cool.
All right. Anything else to catch up on?
Yeah, actually.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. What is this? This isn't real. This isn't real ink.
Yeah, it is real. It's a real tattoo.
Is it really?
Yeah.
100% it's real?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just joking around.
I was okay. So when you were like, "Is that really real?" and I was like, "No, it's just like
A fake
I
one.
almost said iron-on, but that's not correct.
Yeah.
Temporary. I think that's
Yeah,
what I said.
temporary tattoo.
I was like, no, it's just temporary. It'll be gone by the time we podcast. And you were like, oh, okay. And I was like, did he really just buy this?
Yeah, I bought it. It was
Like-
over text. What'd you think? There's no nuance to text. It's just words.
It makes me so happy when I can
Pull
get
one
you.
over on me?
Yeah,
you
'cause,
really
like,
got me. I really thought.
That rarely happens.
Well, at first I saw it. I was like, wow, that is a cool tattoo. And I was like,
It's so intricate. How could you think that was temporary?
well, it was also big too. Like that's a large tattoo. I mean, your arms are kind of small, but still, that's a big tattoo. So I was like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
it
think
takes
they
up-
make temporary tattoos that size. I'm sure they do, but I was
Yeah.
like, that looks real. And then you said, no, it's fake. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes up my whole forearm.
But I remember you saying something about possibly getting a tattoo with a butterfly or something at one
Yeah.
point. So I was like, oh, there is a butterfly on it.
Yeah, so it's a lilac, like a little lilac kind of bush thing.
That's a
because
big
my
lilac
Nana,
bush.
It is.
Yeah.
My Nana liked lilacs.
Yeah.
And then there's a butterfly on it because
Wow.
she called me.
So
she
nice.
always called me an iron butterfly because I was beautiful and strong.
Yeah. So are you going to finish it out and like do like a whole sleeve eventually, or is it just going to be that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
You'll get addicted to it. You'll totally finish that sleeve.
that's what everybody says, but I don't think so. I think that like even having this, like going from nothing to having this was like, this is a lot. Like I have a real tattoo. It's not like I have like a teeny tiny little butterfly
Yeah.
or symbol hidden somewhere. Like this was a commitment.
Did you
It
have
took
to
4
go
hours.
back a couple times or just one?
No, it was just all in one, 4
Wow.
hours.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
well,
yeah, so
I'm
that's what's new.
impressed.
Yeah, thank you.
I always wanted to get a tattoo. I just never could think of what I would want to put permanently on my body. And even the things that I thought would be cool.
I have the perfect thing for you.
What? Tell me, please.
You should get the Blu-ray logo
Oh, come on. That is the greatest idea I've ever heard.
as a tramp stamp.
Right on my lower back.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I like where your head's at. You know me. You get me.
Yep.
Wow. Very cool. Congrats
Yeah,
on the ink.
thanks.
You're all inked
Thank
up.
you.
Tatted up.
I am.
Man. Cool. I
That's-
feel so
that's all
uncool
I
now
need.
that you're like the
I know,
tatted up
right?
podcaster.
I definitely feel a little cooler. I feel like my coolness factor has
Yeah.
gone up a slight bit. All right, let's get into Buffy.
Let's get into Buffy.
All right, so this is season 1, episode 9, The Puppet Show.
Yeah.
Original. So when I texted you a couple days ago, I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, have you watched Buffy yet?"
Yeah.
And you said, "Well, you sent a gift back, no." And I was like, "Oh boy, you're in for a real treat."
Yeah. This one is something else. This is a wild one.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk this one through with you.
Yeah, me too.
And I hadn't even watched it at that point, but obviously I remember what goes on. So I'm like, oh man, I wonder how Pat's gonna react to this one.
Yeah,
this could be the one that breaks it.
This
for
is a
him.
bonkers episode.
So the original air date was May 5th, 1997. It was written by Rob Deshotel and Dean Batali, directed by Ellen S. Pressman. Your predictions from last episode were that Miss Calendar and Giles won't get together because I just don't want it to happen.
That's a good prediction, yeah.
And Willow will not have another online boyfriend.
Not for a while, at least.
And you said, as her, I will always meet them in the flesh.
I said that as her?
Yes.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't remember anything I say in these podcasts, apparently.
That's why I write them down.
Even when I'm editing them, I'm like, what? When did this happen?
I said that.
Yeah.
You're not even drinking. All right, so the puppet show. We open backstage at the Sunnydale High Auditorium, where a pretty blonde girl is doing stretches in ballet garb.
Yeah.
And we're kind of looking at her from like a low-ish angle. Not in like a pervy way, but, you know, just we're low to the ground.
Yeah, sure. The camera's low.
And we get a creepy sort of like growling voiceover that says, I will be whole, I will be new.
Yeah.
And then we continue moving through backstage where students are practicing various acts.
Sure. Yeah. And right away I was like, oh, talent show. That's what this is. Yeah.
Exactly. We see a guy rubbing his temple with a dummy on his lap. And then on stage, Cordelia is singing Whitney Houston's The Greatest Love of All.
Oh,
if
see,
you can call that singing, which I don't think we can.
See, I didn't know this was an actual song because I don't know music that much. But I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? Because some of the lyrics were like, learning to love yourself. And she's trying to sing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've never heard this song?
I'm sure I have, but I don't recognize lyrics.
Well, and also, I mean, if they're sung terribly, it's probably hard to
Yeah. She's
recognize
very
it.
off key.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
So it's-
Giles, can I talk about Giles here?
Absolutely. you can.
Giles is playing the American Idol judge at this point, and he's giving her some notes, and he's like, that's quite enough. And
He's not giving her notes. He's giving her.
he's shutting her down.
He's like,
yeah,
please stop.
He's showing her the light. He's like, get out. So as I watched that, I was like, I wonder if Simon Cowell at this moment in 1997 was watching his TV and is like, I know what I'm doing for my career. This guy's got it. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. That's quite enough.
That's funny. I never put that together.
Yeah.
But I think you're probably right. I think Simon Cowell took a lot away from
Very Simon
Anthony
Cowell.
Stewart Head here.
Yep.
Yeah, so Giles is looking like he'd rather be burning in hell, basically. And he cuts off Cordelia. Then we get, Buffy, Willow, and Xander enter, and they tease Giles relentlessly about finagling such a primo assignment, as Buffy puts it.
Yeah.
Giles replies, our new Führer, Mr. Snyder, is the one who, gave him this job.
Yeah. New principal.
Yeah, and so Willow says, I think they call them principals now. And Buffy says, Giles, unto every generation is born one who must run the annual talent list show. You cannot escape your destiny.
And Giles is so pumped to be doing it.
Oh, he is not happy.
Yeah.
So he tries to guilt them into participating or helping, but Buffy says, nah, I think I'll take your traditional role and watch. And then Xander says, and mock. And Willow says, and laugh.
Right.
So as they go to leave, they come face to face with Principal Snyder.
Mr. Snyder.
Who chides them and then reveals that he's been keeping a watchful eye on them.
So why, yeah, okay. Maybe you're going to say it here, but why is he chiding them for just hanging out? That's not allowed? Can't hang out around the talent show?
No, he's chiding them because they were mocking the talent show.
Oh, okay.
So he says something like, do you think it's cool to mock, school activities or something like that? That's why he's kind of giving them a hard time. He also says that he's been keeping an eye on them. Mm-hmm. He's like, your afternoon classes are not optional. Why did you skip them yesterday? And then Buffy almost blurts out, we were fighting a demon. I mean, she gets like 98% of the way there.
Yeah. She puts her foot in her mouth, like always.
Yeah, the classic.
Vampire asbestos.
Vampire asbestos. So Xander kind of tries to come to her aid, and then Snyder tells them they need to participate in the talent show.
Right. Forces them to be in the talent show.
Yep. They try to beg their way out, but Snyder says, my predecessor, Mr. Flutie, may have gone in for all that touchy-feely relating nonsense, but he was eaten. You're in my world now, and Sunnydale has touched and felt for the last time.
This is so crazy because not only are they referencing the hyena attack where Flutie gets eaten, and I think it's just funny to hear a principal getting eaten, and then you just talk about it like, oh, he got eaten, and right? It's like, that's a weird thing to
he was eaten.
talk about and bring up, like in the history of the school. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Well, and I just love Giles's face. Like, he's just like so super smug.
Yeah.
So then the guy with the dummy, who we learn his name is Morgan, gets on stage and starts to tell some bad dummy puns, and he's a terrible ventriloquist because
he's trying.
we can see him. We can see his mouth moving.
Yeah.
But then Sid, his dummy, starts making fun of Morgan, and suddenly Morgan is really good as a ventriloquist.
Right. Yeah. He turns into the dummy voice turns into like this sort of, I couldn't place. It was like a weird accent, almost like a gruff New York accent or something.
That's what I thought too. Like a gruff, like 20s, 30s New York accent.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of it too. Like the the hardened smoker guy who's like always in clubs and like kind of like that.
Kind of like that? That's like too cool. It's more like, hey, like a taxi driver, like, hey, you come over here. Kind of like that.
I think it's somewhere in between us.
Okay, yeah, I think.
I feel like it was like a little sexier sounding than yours.
Okay, well, you know what? Sexy isn't my flavor, okay?
Then we cut to the girls' locker room where all the crazy shit happens in Sunnydale High.
Yeah.
I feel like they should just never go in that locker room.
Right. Every time they go in the locker room, there's a body hitting the floor.
The blonde ballerina is in there alone, and she hears something.
She's gonna die.
She's looking around trying to find the source. And we cut again to sort of that like lower position, as if we're
not in a creepy way though. Just
not in a pervy.
Not like a
I didn't
pervy.
say not in a pervy.
Oh, it is
way.
creepy, just not pervy.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's not
okay.
I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like an upskirt situation.
What? Oh, okay. I
know what I
had
mean?
no idea that's where you were going with it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But it was like as if the position that we're watching from is of someone who is smaller, much
small
smaller.
person, dummy sized,
like a rat.
Oh, I thought it was taller
something.
than a rat. Like a cat. Cat
like
height.
a cat.
Okay.
Yeah, cat height.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at cat height camera.
cat cam.
Cat cam. It's following the blonde ballerina girl around, and then it jumps and she screams, and the creepy voiceover is back and says, "I will be Flash,"
Which is a very weird thing to say.
and then the intro music plays. So then we come back from the intro. We're back at the talent show. A magician can't find his hat rabbit. Buffy,
That means
Willow,
he did
and
the trick well. If he can't find it, he really disappeared.
no,
that
you're
thing.
supposed to pull it out of the hat.
Oh, that's true.
So he didn't do it well. He can't find his rabbit. So Buffy, Willow, and Xander are trying to practice a dramatic scene, which Willow says is, quote, the easiest way to get through the talent show because it doesn't require an actual talent. And Xander starts to protest that they do have talent. And when he tries to get back up from Buffy, she's like, what am I going to do? Slay vampires on stage?
I mean, that would be cool. I would like to see that on
That's
stage.
definitely a talent. Not
Yeah.
everyone can do that.
Imagine
Most
if
people
she
can't.
dusted somebody on stage. The crowd would go nuts because they
Yeah.
wouldn't know what kind of trickery that is.
Yeah, they'd be like, what
Yeah.
special effects magic is this?
Right. They should have went to the blood well, grabbed a vamp, brought him in like a collar, you know,
Yeah.
and then dusted him. Well, how else are you going to get a vamp up there?
Well, it's also middle of the day, so they got to blanket him.
Oh,
or
right.
her.
Yeah. You got to put him in
So-
like a duffel bag. Big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Morgan's dummy whistles at Buffy and Willow in a suggestive way and makes some crude jokes.
Yeah.
He says, once you go wood, nothing's as good. Which I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yowza.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay.
What? You got something to say about
No,
that?
I got nothing to say about that.
Okay. Buffy threatens to turn him into a Duraflame log.
Oh, I missed that. I think I was writing down the quote.
Oh, yeah. Because she says something like,
That's really funny.
yeah, she's like, all right, you got to cut it out with the like, horny dummy act or else like he's going to end up as a Duraflame wood or something.
That's funny.
Duraflame log.
Yeah, I missed that. I was writing my notes. For both shows this week, I was writing on my laptop furiously, trying to keep up, and I had to pause a few times, which is really annoying to me because I hate pausing shows. Yeah, I didn't want to miss things, but that's one of the things I missed.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna watch each show twice if I can now, because I feel like if I'm trying to watch it and take notes at the same time, it's not
enjoyable.
Yeah,
it's still enjoyable. It's just not as enjoyable. You can't just let the show wash over you.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know if it's the same way for you or like reversed for you, but like for me, it's much easier for me to watch Lost because I don't have to keep track of the plot.
Yeah,
and like what's actually happening,
right.
Scene to scene. So for me, Lost is a lot easier. I can just put my laptop and like just type in basically my reactions as they happen. Is kind of like how I do it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do for Buffy. I mean, I hit certain plot points just so I know where we are in the show, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, maybe I should start doing that with Lost because as we know, sometimes my reactions are like, I'm like, wait, where was that?
Yeah, you're like, where are we?
It's just like, what the fuck, Sawyer? I'm like, that could be at any part.
Know. That's the whole show for you. I'd punch him right in the face. I hate that guy. I'd stab him.
So yeah, maybe I need to write down some plot points too.
Yeah.
Once you go wood, nothing's as good.
Right. That's where we left off.
Duraflame log.
Yep.
Snyder and Giles walk in, and Snyder further hammers home the point that he is a no-nonsense disciplinarian. He says, kids today need discipline. That's an unpopular word these days, discipline. I know Principal Flutie would have said, kids need understanding. Kids are human beings. That's the kind of woolly-headed liberal thinking that leads to being eaten.
Yeah. He keeps talking about how he gets eaten.
Oh man. And then he rattles off the recent tragedies: suicide, missing person, spontaneous cheerleader combustion. He says, you can't put up with that. You've got to keep an eye on the bad element. And then, he says, like them, looking pointedly at Buffy, Willow, and Xander.
Right.
And then he says, kids, I don't like them.
It's like, why are you a principal?
Right. Like, bad career choice, man.
But there's got to be a lot of principals in their careers that just hate kids.
Yeah. And he reminds me, he has a very Mr. Burns look to him.
Yeah, good
I
call.
don't know if that, like Mr. Burns, but a little bit more like ratty, mousy.
He actually looked very familiar to me, and I couldn't place where I might have seen him before. I could have looked him up, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's Armin Shimmerman. I know I've seen him randomly at other things, but of course my experience of him was always Buffy first. So
right.
if ever I see him, I'm like,
Principal
Snyder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he says, from now on, you're going to see a very different Sunnydale High. Tight ship, clean, orderly, and quiet. Which, of course, now we've got a smash cut to a girl screaming.
Right. Yeah, he's in for a rude awakening here.
Yes.
Sunnydale ain't that.
That is correct. Girl screaming, and then we see someone being brought into the hallway on a stretcher.
Dead body.
Yeah. And hey,
we got a crime scene.
We got
some
a crime
cops.
scene. We got some cops. They're putting stuff in bags.
God, yep. Finally.
So in Teacher's Pet, which was episode 4, you predicted the police will disappear and we won't see them again for another 7 to 8 episodes. But here we are, 5 episodes later.
I was close.
With some kappas.
You know what? Let's call that an accurate prediction.
I'd say that's close enough.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Now you have to extend me the same courtesy about Claire's baby countdown then.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, good. I have that on record. So Giles reports to Buffy, Willow, and Xander. It was Emily who was the dancer ballerina.
Yes, Emily Dancer. Emily.
Dancer. That's what you call her?
No, that's what they call her. They said,
oh,
Emily, Dancer Emily?
Dancer Emily, yeah. And her heart was removed.
Yeah.
Buffy asks if Giles has any ideas what it was, and Giles starts to say that there are demons who feed on human hearts, but then we cut to a knife being put in a bag. So, they're kind of like, well, a demon probably doesn't need to use a knife.
Right, you just dig it out with your demon claws.
Right, just...
Yeah, like... Yeah.
Either one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that last one. That made me very uncomfortable.
I mean, if you're a demon.
Oh, I didn't like it. But that was a good demon sound.
Thank
but
you.
don't ever do it again.
Okay.
Okay. So they're basically like, she was probably killed by a human then. Willow says, it could be anyone. It could be me. It's not me though.
It's not me though.
Such a Willowism.
Yeah.
And Giles suggests that they interview the talent show compatriots to see, if anyone knew anything or saw anything, saw Emily. Buffy talks to the tuba player who says that she didn't know Emily well. She said, there's that whole dancer band rivalry. But I did speak to her a little that day yesterday, or the day that yesterday. And I was like, dancer band rivalry? She talks about it like it's this common thing.
Yeah, there could be. I could see that.
I don't know why. Wouldn't they want to get along so the dancers could dance to the band songs?
You never know. All it takes is one bad
dance?
One bad
song.
Egg. No, egg is the word I was looking for. One bad egg.
I'm never
group.
giving in. I'm never giving in. Never surrender.
So yeah, rivalries can come out of nowhere.
And then Giles starts to talk to the magician guy who tells Giles which card he should pick during his card trick.
And he's like, no, pick this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this magician guy, not great.
Yeah. He's no
He
David
needs to find a
Copperfield.
different. Yes. He needs to find a different talent, I think. Willow talks to a long-haired kind of surfer bro who says Emily was talking to that smart guy, the one with the dummy. Xander has the unfortunate task of talking to Cordelia, who of course makes it all about herself.
Yeah.
She says, it's just such a tragedy for me. Emma was like my best friend. And Xander's like, Emily? Then we cut back to Buffy. The tuba player tells her Morgan is always rubbing his head. Morgan, the one with the dummy.
Yeah.
The magician guy tells Giles that Morgan seems paranoid.
No,
and
he's
then
always rubbing his head and moaning is what she says.
Oh, yes.
Which would be like a description for me.
Because you're just so exasperated with the world.
Yeah, I feel like I rub my head and moan a lot. Just like, oh, God. That's pretty much me.
So, maybe you're Morgan.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up ventriloquism as my hobby.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah, and then the dummy could sit right here on my elbow throughout the podcast, and then he can chime in every once in a while.
No.
I'll be like, hey, Pinky.
No.
Hey, nice shirt there, Pinky.
Oh, God, he's going to be Sawyer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna be a big fan of Sawyer, and we'll talk Lost all week. And then I'll be like, what'd you think of the show? And he'll be like, I don't know, let me talk to Sammy. I need a cigarette.
This is the worst day of my life. If that ever happens, I quit. It's podcast
Really?
over.
That's how I get out of this podcast?
No,
I get
not
a
when you
dummy.
say it like that.
I mean, I'm even going to name him Sawyer. I'll be like, what do you think, Sawyer? Yeah, I'm into it. Where's my cigarettes?
You want to buy some sunscreen?
Yeah, you want some sunscreen? I'll trade you for it.
Cigarettes for sunscreen.
Yeah.
Sounds like a prison deal.
Okay.
Where the hell are we? Okay. So the magician guy tells Giles that Morgan seems paranoid, and the surfer guy tells Willow that he saw him arguing with his dummy.
Right.
Cordelia says, all I can think is it could have been me. And Xander says, we can dream.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Buffy walking into the auditorium where it does indeed look like Morgan is fighting with his dummy. So they all kind of compare notes first, and then Buffy goes after Morgan. Buffy asks if he noticed anything weird going on with Emily. Morgan said Emily was just dancing while he and Sid were talking, is the word that he uses. Buffy's like, talking? And he's like, rehearsing. Morgan holds his hand to his forehead in pain and then sits down. Buffy asks if he's okay, and then Sid, the dummy, is the one that yells at her.
He's like, leave him alone. Something like that.
Yeah. Buffy kind of asks Sid to talk to Morgan. Like she's like, can I just talk to Morgan alone?
Yeah.
And then Sid speaks for him again, is kind of like, he answered your question. Morgan puts him in his box and just kind of rushes off out of the auditorium.
Oh, this is the best part of the scene, though. Right as he shuts the box, the camera does a quick cut close-up of Sid, the dummy's face, and he's looking like at Buffy as she closes the box. I thought that was a great cut. And they do that a couple times throughout the episode.
Yeah, creepy. I think I just tried to tune those things out because I'm with Buffy on this, that dummies are creepy. Don't have a story to go with it either, but like Buffy.
You're not on
just
Team
creeped out.
Willow where she thinks they're cute?
No, I'm Team Buffy on this one.
I don't know if Willow still thinks they're cute after this episode.
Probably not. So we cut to the library. Buffy, Willow, Xander are walking in, and Xander says, next time we split up, someone else is on Cordy detail. 5 more minutes with her, and we would have had another organ donor. Then they put their facts together. Oh, this is when they put their facts together and realize that, you know, everyone that they talk to sort of is pointing at Morgan.
Right. It's coming up, dummy.
Coming up, dummy.
Yeah.
They argue about what to do next. Giles says, you know, he can't really research much because of the talent show that he's running. Buffy and Xander protest. You know, Xander says, we can't do the talent show. It's unthinkable. I'm not able to think it. Basically, they're like, we shouldn't be doing the talent show.
Yeah.
A woman has been murdered.
Yeah, they can't do that.
But Giles says Snyder is watching them all carefully and, you know, he can make their lives miserable. So the show must go on. He suggests that Buffy keep an eye on Morgan and check his locker for clues or a heart.
Yeah.
So Buffy busts open Morgan's locker. Snyder catches her, saying he knows something's going on with her and he'll figure it out sooner or later. And then
she smashes the locker with her
Yeah,
hand.
so
She busts it through.
Yeah. The lock,
metal. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like 2 to the left, 3 to the right, da-da-da,
Right.
and then it's just busted on through.
So does she?
She ain't got time to try to figure out the combination.
Look,
she's
I
gonna
know
use
she's
her
strong.
brute strength.
She's very strong, but does she have like supernatural strength as the Slayer? Mm-hmm. She does. Okay.
Yes.
So this
Yeah.
isn't just like girl power strength. This is like super.
Yeah, this isn't just like I have adrenaline because my child is stuck under a car, or I have a lot of strength because I work out 5 hours a day pumping iron.
Right.
This is superhuman strength.
Okay. So this is she has special powers in a way.
Yeah, Giles pretty much says that in the first episode. You know, you're the one girl in all the world with the strength and skill
Gotcha.
to fight the evil spread of their something.
Okay.
So she has superhuman strength. And then so Buffy checks the dummy case, but Sid is not in it. And then we see Morgan with Sid, the dummy, peeking out from a door across the hall.
Yeah.
Then Morgan and Sid are arguing on stage again. Sid is trying to convince Morgan to do something he doesn't want to do. Sid says, she's the one. You saw
Wait.
what she did. What?
We have to go back. She talks with Snyder at the locker. We didn't talk about that.
Well, I said that he came up and said that.
So one of the things he says though is he talks about what he doesn't tolerate on his watch. He doesn't tolerate loitering. He doesn't tolerate murder and smoking.
Zero tolerance for murder.
Those 3 things. Yeah. Can't murder, can't loiter, can't smoke.
But if you want to do drugs, deal drugs on campus, it's fine as long as it's not smoking drugs.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know, we can slide under the radar that way.
I suppose.
Violence that doesn't lead to murder, also okay by
Just some maiming.
by those standards. Yeah, a little bit of, you know, some light maiming, perhaps.
Yeah, that falls in the tolerance category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes. Yep. So we cut to Morgan and Sid arguing. Sid says, she's the one. You saw what she did, how strong she is. She's the last. Just this one more and I'll be free.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Buffy and her mom talking at home. Buffy begs her mom not to attend the talent show.
Don't come.
Yeah, she's like, please do not come.
Yeah.
Then Buffy turns off her light to go to sleep.
And
what do we see?
Sid is in the window.
And she's on the 2nd floor.
Yeah, that's a great jump scare. I love it when they do that in this show. Normally,
I
I don't
know.
like jump scares in movies, but in this show, it's completely fine because they're tame enough.
Right. It's not like so out of the blue, and it's
Yeah.
not like I feel like the new movie It, I'm sure you didn't see that.
Oh, no, I saw it.
Oh, okay.
Not
great.
chapter 2. Wait, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? You're sure what? You don't think I can handle scary movies?
Not that scary.
What do you mean?
I don't
love
know.
scary
I really
movies.
don't know why I said that. Do you like those movies? Do you like horror films?
No, I don't like horror films.
Okay, so there we go. Like, what the fuck?
I just like being offended.
Well, I like being terrified, so
I
that's why I
know.
like horror films.
I know. We've talked about this before.
Okay, good. Dude,
No,
trying to
I like,
make me feel bad.
I
Trying
know,
to mess me up.
That's what I do. But I like horror films, but I have to be in a specific mood to watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like we both are very bad at fully pronouncing horror.
Horror?
And I just think we need to be very careful about making sure we say we like horror films, because otherwise it might sound like something else.
This podcast is really making us investigate our pronunciations, isn't it?
Yes.
Like I'm a big fan of horror films.
Horror.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, good.
Okay.
But yeah, what I'm trying to say is in It, I feel like there's a lot thrown in to make you really jump,
Oh,
which
big
granted,
jumps.
I
Yeah.
did a lot.
jumps, yeah.
I saw the first one. I saw both actually in theaters with my dad because nobody else would see them with me. But my dad likes some horror films.
Right.
And yeah, I remember the first one. I think it's the part where he comes out of the TV. I forget if it was that or another part.
There's one where he comes out of like the piano or something that really got me.
Yeah, but my dad and I both jumped. Like, my dad was holding the popcorn, and it was like just a perfect, like, he was like, whoa, just the popcorn went flying.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this show is like, it's weaved in a little bit more.
They're tamer. They're not so in your face.
Yeah, they're tamer, but they're also a little bit more storyline. It's, you know, it's not like it's just thrown in there to make you jump.
Right. It's not for the scare.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, whew. and immediately, of course, cuts to a commercial break. So
Yeah.
you gotta sit with that for a couple of minutes if you're watching it live.
I forced my wife to watch these episodes again with me. So
Yeah.
she does not like horror movies whatsoever. And she,
Oh.
throughout this episode, she was saying like, why do people watch things like that? I'm like, this isn't even that scary. And she's like, yes, it is. Like, she was terrified.
That's so funny. Poor Amy.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who feel the same way. I think because one of my so my mom's mom, my grandma, not my Nana, the one who likes lilacs, but my other grandma, she always loved horror films, and like I would watch them with her when I was very young.
Most
way
people
too young
don't
to be watching
get
them.
to have the pleasure to watch horror films with their grandma who loves horror films.
Yeah, but I did.
This is a very uncommon occurrence.
Well, you know, that's my
That's your
raison
upbringing.
d'etre.
Yeah.
Just
So it makes you who you are.
every
Just
part
one
of
of
my
the
life.
things. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I remember her watching, what is it? Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, I'd never seen that one, but I know the movie.
It's fucked up.
Isn't that a
That's
Stephen King thing?
Yeah, and that was something that I should not have been watching very young.
No.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah.
I can handle a lot horror wise, but there are things that creep me out. Like I can watch a whole episode of like a dummy, you know, whatever, and be fine. But it's creepy. I'm not gonna like sit there and be super uncomfortable and be like, oh my god, I can't watch this. I'm gonna have nightmares. But I'm just like, this isn't, you know.
So
I'm
is
a
it
little
after you
freaked out.
watch something
Maybe
really
uncomfortable.
scary like that? Mm-hmm. Is it nightmares that get you, or is it like the time before you go to sleep where you're just thinking about it and it's like, is there a
it's
dummy
that.
in my closet that's gonna get me?
Yeah, but not for me. It wouldn't be the dummy in my closet thing. For
Yeah.
me, it's more things that I can find more plausible.
Yeah, like the murderer who just happened to stumble upon your door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or
I think
or
that's
ghosts, because I do think.
Oh right,
ghosts are
ghosts.
real.
Yeah.
But if it's like an alien thing, or yeah, like a dummy, like I never got into Chucky.
No,
But-
me neither.
that's not something that creeps me out. Poltergeist, like that movie freaks me out.
Yeah, that's a scary one. That's a good one.
The movies that terrify me the most are, like the ones that are a little bit more realistic, like The Strangers.
Oh, that one. That's
That one
something
was
else.
that was probably the
Great movie,
most scared I've
but
ever been.
Wow.
Yeah. That and then Nightmare on Elm Street, because how are you gonna?
Oh, you can't go to
What
sleep.
are you gonna do when you're dreaming?
Right.
Whew. So yeah, those are the ones that get me.
Right.
What about you? What gets you? Besides everything, apparently.
Wait, what?
Except for dummies. Like, I don't like clowns either, but they're not necessarily going to keep me up at night. Like, watching it isn't going to terrify me.
Yeah.
It did when I was little, when I watched the original when I was like 8 years old. I had very recently moved out of my older sister's room because we had been sharing a room for a good while. I remember sleeping on her floor for a couple days after that.
Yeah. I remember the one movie that really got me the first time I watched it was The Sixth Sense, when that first came out.
Ghosts, again.
And I talk about this with my friend Joe all the time, and it's also the reveal scare.
Yeah.
So after watching that movie, I remember he and I both had the same sort of fear, which is like when you took a shower and then you get out of the shower, you open the curtain and you think there's going to be somebody standing there or something.
Oh God.
That's what freaks me out.
Yes.
It's the reveal.
Oh, didn't you and I talk about What Lies Beneath?
Yes, great movie.
Because I remember being like, that's like the one time I really like Harrison Ford, which I know is blasphemy to you.
Yeah, it is blasphemy.
I think it's just the only time to me that he's not the same that he's in every movie. He's kind of a little bit, but
he might not have a ton of range, but that range that he's in is fantastic. It's so good. Best range.
Well, I think that
Get off my plane. Air Force One, he's the president. Fantastic. Indiana Jones, give me my whip. It's great, too. Han Solo, get off my ship. Same, but it's great.
Wow. It's pretty much, exactly the same. That must be fun.
He's a great actor.
Is he, or is he just
American treasure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We won't argue that. But anyway, I feel the same way. What Lies Beneath, like, it was the idea of like turning around or going in the bathroom and like a dead body there.
Yeah. I remember when her eyes changed in that movie.
And I
so
can't
good.
I can't take a bath after watching that. Like, I need a little space between watching that movie and taking a bath.
That movie made bathtubs a little scary. Taking your tubby made it a little scary.
Yeah. You just got to make sure you have one of the tubs that has like a drain that's easier to get to.
With your toesies?
Yeah, with your toesies. Buffy goes to sleep. We see Sid in the window. We come back from the break. We hear scampering in Buffy's room.
Skittering.
Skittering?
I call it skittering in my notes.
Skittering, a little scampering.
Scampering is like a little louder, like thump, 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 right? Skittering is like
See,
like
I would say this was scampering.
Okay.
Skittering was like if it was a mouse.
Okay. All right.
There's some scamper.
There's some
happening.
skittering and some scampering.
A little bit of halfway
both.
between.
Okay.
Skimpering. No, not that.
These are I was gonna say like, never mind. Just go ahead. I was gonna mix up like skittering with semantics. Skitter. It doesn't work. Let's just go.
Work.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
move on.
So Buffy comes close to seeing Sid because it kind of jumps out at her.
Yeah.
She screams. She gets out of bed, and her mom comes to the rescue, turning on the light. They can't find anything. Her mom says she shouldn't go to sleep with the window open, and Buffy says, "I didn't." But again, she's on the second floor. Like, I don't know if we've forgotten that in this episode, and she's not supposed to be on the second floor, but she's definitely on the second floor.
What do you mean she's not supposed to be on the second floor?
Obviously, we've seen in the past,
Yeah.
when we've seen her bedroom, that she's on the second floor because,
Right.
like, Angel busted out of her window.
Right.
And another time, Buffy went out the window onto, like, the roof. Like, we see that it's not just ground.
Right.
So I'm just saying, like, I don't know if, like, this episode forgot that she was on the second floor and put her on the first floor or something. But
Why?
I guess
Because Sid got in?
Well, because Sid got in.
Yeah, Sid climbed up the thing. He's a little dummy. He's a little acrobatic dummy.
Yeah.
He totally just climbed up the side, like the gutter. The gutter is like a big old tree to a little dummy. So he's just, he climbed right up that thing. He skittered right up it. Clambered.
Yeah. But I mean, like the fact that Buffy's mom was like, "Don't have your window open." Although I guess you still shouldn't have it open. Like at least have a screen down.
Well, you don't know what kind of animals could get in. A squirrel could get in,
or people putting up a ladder getting into the window.
People. There's a lot of things.
Now I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight.
Okay.
Well, actually, all of our windows are closed because it's December. Happy December, Pat.
Happy December.
Buffy, we assume, goes back to sleep because then we just cut to the auditorium. The magician still sucks. So does Cordelia. Cordelia tries to get some notes from Giles, but he shuts her up by pausing and just looking at her and saying, "Your hair."
Your hair.
And then Cordelia's like, "Oh my God, what?" And then she runs off.
freaks
And Giles is like, "Xander was right. Worked like a charm."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that moment.
Yep.
Buffy tells Giles, Willow, and Xander she thinks that Sid was in her room alone, not with Morgan, and alive on his own. Mm-hmm. They wonder if she had a nightmare. Giles says that he found a possible demon culprit, a brotherhood of 7 demons who take the form of young humans. Every 7 years, these demons need human organs, brain, and a heart to maintain their humanity. Otherwise, they revert back to their original form, which is slightly less appealing. And he shows them a photo of a yucky demon. Giles observes Morgan seems to be getting weaker every day. Buffy keeps an eye on him in class, where he brings his dummy.
Yeah, it's like, he's allowed to just have a dummy in class?
Yeah, that was weird to me.
Yeah.
It's not like I could bring my teddy bear and sit it down on my lap in class.
I mean, you might be able to. It depends on your teacher, I guess. Some
Or if it's show
teachers
and
might
tell
be
day.
okay with it.
You
Right,
know?
but in high school, is there show and tell day?
No, I don't think so. It wasn't in my school.
Mine either.
So, yeah, that was just really weird. So Buffy's keeping an eye on him, and then Sid... Morgan is like writing notes or something, like paying attention to class, but then Sid seems to turn his head on his own to look at Buffy. Cordelia makes a snarky comment about, how the dummy is into Buffy.
The dummy likes you at least. Something like that.
Something like that. Buffy keeps an eye. Oh, I already said that. Sorry, looking at my notes. The teacher takes Sid away and puts him in her closet where he says, "I'm still watching you."
I'm still watching you.
And Morgan looks nervous. Mm-hmm. When he goes at the end of class to get Sid back, the teacher asks him.
And the audio was definitely coming from the cupboard. Like, it's kind of muffled and echoey. Like, it wasn't coming from Morgan.
So either he's really good at throwing his voice.
Really good, yeah. Throwing it into a cupboard. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, thank you for pointing that out.
Or he's got a Bluetooth, microphone. I
don't think they had Bluetooth back then, Pat. They didn't even have DSL.
Good point.
So he does not have a Bluetooth headset or microphone.
Right.
The teacher asks him if everything's okay, and he starts kind of grabbing at his head nervously.
Right, rubbing your head and moaning as you do.
Well, he wasn't moaning. He was kind of grabbing his hair in a Mad Men sort of fashion. I
do that too.
Yeah, when you're stressed.
Yeah.
She opens the cabinet and Sid is gone.
He gone.
We cut to Xander holding Sid in the library.
This is probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, I think it's mine too. He got it from the teacher's closet. Oh no, mine actually comes a little bit later. So I didn't go into super detail here, so maybe I'll let you take it away with what happens.
Xander tries his best at being a ventriloquist, and he's messing and manipulating Sid and making all sorts of funny voices, and then it just keeps going for a while too.
Yeah,
and then at the end he basically just becomes unhinged, just like red rum,
which by the way was ad-libbed.
Oh, really?
I think they really did just
That's why
let
it's so
Nicholas
good, 'cause
Brendan go.
Yeah, it wasn't written. It was completely authentic.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he like bangs Sid on the table and is like,
yes.
I'm a dummy. You know,
I love
I'm
that.
inanimate.
I love that part too because we already know that the dummy is, self-aware and pretty scary and trying to murder people. And like,
Yeah.
this is just fuel for the fire for this crazy dummy. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, it's just winding this thing up.
Well, not for the fire because Sid doesn't want to be a Duraflame log.
Oh, right.
But yeah. And yeah, so the red rum thing was ad-libbed, and that is
Yeah,
of course
that
a
was funny.
reference to
Shining.
The Shining.
Yeah.
More Stephen King. Buffy takes off to meet with Morgan. So she's like, basically now that Xander has Sid, she's like, great, I can finally talk to Morgan alone. Giles and Willow hit the books to do more research on organ harvesting demons. Buffy looks for Morgan backstage and runs into Snyder, who says, with everything that's been going on recently, I'm not sure how safe it is for a girl like you, like yourself, to be here alone. And Buffy says, well, I was just leaving and I know how to take care of myself. She gives him a little bit of attitude, finally,
In this scene, did you see in the background when she's going through the backstage area in the dark, did you see on the wall there's like a demon picture?
Ooh, I think I missed that.
Yeah, it was like in the background, there was like a picture of a demon on the wall in the backstage area. And I was like, oh, look, there's a demon back there.
Ooh, I feel
Yeah.
like I have to go back and watch that
Yeah,
now.
you should go check it out.
How would you describe the demon?
It looked a lot like the demon from the iRobot Eugene.
So the typical child drawing of a
Yeah,
demon?
yeah, exactly. That kind of demon. Not the robot one.
Now that I've seen this show so many times, I'm starting to notice more and more things in the background. Clearly not that,
Yeah.
but when they were first showing the stage, I think right at the beginning of the episode, and they were building out like the signage, it says Sunny D instead of like it's Sunnydale
Product
wasn't fully
placement.
built out. Yeah, so I was like, oh, interesting, Sunny D.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they got in the product
Getting that
placement.
Sunny D money.
Willow finds more information on magical toys. She reads from a book on rare occasions inanimate objects of human quality, such as dolls and mannequins already mystically possessed of consciousness, have acted upon their desire to become human by harvesting organs. So it's like macabre Pinocchio situation going on here.
Yeah. Remember that one episode of Lore with there was like it wasn't a dummy, but it's a doll. There's like a doll that like lived with a boy or something.
Yes.
And like
I do
the
remember
mom
that.
swear like they could hear the doll talking in the other room and stuff. And then she'd come in
Yeah.
and she couldn't hear it anymore. And then
I
like it
do
almost
remember
tried
that.
killing her or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like a true story.
Fucking dolls, man.
Dolls, creepy
Like
dolls.
my mom had like a glass cabinet of dolls, and then like my sister had some for a while. I was not into that shit. Dolls are creepy.
Not into it.
Not into it.
Yeah.
Just no thank you. So then Xander, who's also in the library, he had like put Sid down on sort of like a studying table. He put him on a chair.
Yeah.
He gets up to get a book, and so he looks away, and Sid disappears.
Yeah, he like it's the old trick where he obscures the doll in the background
Yes.
from the camera,
and then when he moves,
the doll's gone. Yeah.
Sid, the dummy, is gone.
Yep.
Then Xander goes, sits back down, looks into his book and starts like writing something. He looks over, Sid is gone. He jumps up on the table and yells in panic, and he's like, Sid's gone, he's gone. And then Willow and Giles throws his books, and they start to panic like it's a mouse loose in the library.
My wife said, "Why are they acting like the floor is lava?" And I said, "Because the dummy's on the loose."
Yeah. I mean, I just remember, I don't know what kind of, haven of a school that you went to, but mine was a dump and there were always rats.
Yeah.
So I definitely remember times where like someone would be like, rat, and we'd all be like, ah, and like jump on our chairs.
Really? There was rats in your school? Like just running
Oh God,
about?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. We had rats in
Yeah.
our house growing up, but because
I-
we lived along a river in
Oh,
Vermont,
oh,
so we had these gigantic river rats in our house. Yeah. It's yeah,
I'd much
there's-
rather have rats in my school than my house. So
There's a story that we like to tell in our family where one Christmas we were all singing Christmas carols in one room, and my dad was in the other room shooting rats with a shotgun. It's like rocking around the Christmas bang. Reed, reed.
That image gives me so much joy.
Growing up in Vermont, what's up? Hard knock life.
My God.
Yeah. These are like cat-sized rats too. They're big ones.
Oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
He didn't just think that maybe be a good idea to get a cat?
Yeah, I don't know. No, we did have a cat, I think.
Oh, cat
That's
was
another
just
story
useless.
for
Or
another
the
day.
rats were bigger than the cat.
Yeah, probably. They probably outsized him.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is awful, but also hilarious. So then Buffy is still looking for Morgan backstage because F. Snyder, and she finds him dead, brainless,
Yeah.
and then a chandelier falls on her.
Yeah, she gets chandeliered.
I'm gonna be crushed by the chandelier, by the chandelier.
Is that a rendition of something? Oh, you just made it up. It's a great song. I love it.
It's a rendition of something. You can just go ahead and cut that, please. It's Chandelier by Sia.
Oh, see, I don't know songs.
And I can't sing that anyway. But I, at
okay.
least, unlike Cordelia, know that I can't sing.
I cannot either.
So Buffy comes to. She's trapped by the chandelier, kind of like struggling to get out of it.
Yeah.
And Sid, the dummy, is trying to stab her.
Yeah,
with a
so
knife.
it shows up stabbing.
Yeah, and that knife looks a lot like the one that was taken from the Emily crime scene.
Yeah.
She finally gets out and pins him down. They both accuse each other of harvesting organs and trying to become human. And then they're both like, wait, what? So then we cut to Sid explaining to Buffy, Willow, Xander, and Giles in the library. He says, I really want to try to do a voice, but I feel
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
I'm not going to do it.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
No, now I'm messed up. now I'm all kerfluffled. He said, and now I feel like I'm just going to do the Godfather.
Yeah, you were about to drop into it.
All right, he just said, this is
Why
what
you'll
I
not
do.
give me coffee?
Why you never give me coffee? This is what I do. I hunt demons. Yeah, you wouldn't know to look at me. Let's just say there was me. There was a really mean demon.
Yeah.
And there was a curse. And the next thing I know, I'm not me anymore. I can't keep it going. He says,
Give yourself a sore throat.
yeah. He says, I'm sitting on some guy's knee with his hand up my shirt.
Yeah.
Boy, Pat, if I had a nickel for every time that happened to me.
What? Come on. Give me a break here. Oh, jeez.
I don't know why that came to me as I was typing that down. I was like typing it out, and I'm like, this is a fun
Unbelievable.
joke moment.
Yeah.
Willow says, and ever since then, you've been a living dummy? And Sid
Yeah.
confesses that he thought Buffy was the demon because she's strong, athletic, limber, and then he gets pervy again.
Yeah, slender, nubile.
Nubile.
And then he just kind of floats off for a second. He goes, I'm back.
I'm back. Yeah, his like eyes roll back.
Yeah.
He says now that the demon has the heart and the brain, the demon will get to keep the human form he's in for another 7 years, just like Giles had read in that book.
This whole part, I was like yelling. I was like, what? Like, what? The dummy's a demon hunter? Like, really? This is where we're going with the storyline? What?
Yeah, this is where I knew you were going to be like, fuck this. If ever there were a moment for you to bail on this podcast, I'd be like, this would have been it.
No, because part of me respects it for being so outlandish and ridiculous that it
Nobody
makes it
suspects
more
the
fun.
dummy's the demon hunter.
Right. Yeah, I like
suspect
it when
it's the
you
demon.
I like it when you surprise me, even when it's a completely stupid backwards surprise. But you still surprise me nonetheless, so I'll give it to you. Fine.
So basically, if you couldn't understand by my
Amazing.
Sid / Don Corleone voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sid was trapped in the body of a dummy. And so he had been a demon hunter, and then he was cursed and trapped in this. So he wasn't always, it's not like he was Pinocchio and then he became a demon hunter.
Right. So why was he trying to kill Buffy, though? He thought that
he thought she was the demon. So he said there were 7 of them. He's killed 6 of them.
So why did he think Buffy was the demon?
He thought Buffy was the demon because she was so strong.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How did he see how strong she was? Because he fought her? No. Before that.
He's been keeping an eye on her.
He's been keeping a dummy eye on her.
Well, and he saw her punch in the locker.
Oh, crush the locker. Okay.
Yeah.
It's all coming to light here.
Right after that is the scene where he and Morgan are talking, and he's like, didn't you see what she did? How strong she is?
Yeah.
So that's what really convinced him.
Okay. All right. Makes sense now.
Yeah. So he says that if he's killed 6 out of the 7, if he can get the last one, the curse will be lifted and he'll be free.
Yeah.
So they figure if they can see, now that the demon is human or gets to keep his human form again, he or she is probably buggered off. So if they can figure out who's missing from the talent show, they'll know who the demon is and then can go after them. So Giles gets backstage where Cordelia is freaking out, and he tells her to imagine everyone in their underwear. And they're both like, she's like, even Mrs. Whatever. And
Mrs.
he's
Jackson.
like, oh, never mind. This is where Buffy and Sid are talking in the rafters.
Oh, okay.
And Sid admits that when he's free to him is dead, essentially.
Yeah. So he talks about a Slayer in the 30s as a hot, muscly Korean chick.
Yeah.
Now, this is the reboot show that could be sold to Netflix.
Okay.
This
30s
is the
one?
it takes place in the 30s. It's a vampire Slayer show, but it's in the 30s, so it has like a cool aesthetic, right? Throwback,
Yeah.
And we have a hot, muscly Korean chick as the main protagonist, Slayer.
Yeah.
That show would sell, and it would be amazing.
Well, as we know, there is some sort of reboot in progress.
Oh, right. We talked about that before, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it in episode 1.
But it's not in the 30s.
Well, we don't really know. I
That's
would
true.
assume, based on what the showrunner said, it sounds to me like it's like present day, and it's likely going to be a black Slayer.
You're right.
Yeah.
I want the 30s.
Maybe you should write to Joss, our buddy Joss.
I should write what do you call those
pilot,
things?
a script, and send it to them.
Yeah. What do they call it? On spec? Yeah, a spec script.
Yeah.
And send it to Joss and be like, sign me up. Also check out this podcast.
Well, if you get to meet him, you better bring your friend Sammy along, because you're not going to be able to know what to talk to him about.
How mad would you be if I met Joss Whedon and then I didn't tell you?
That would be the end of our friendship.
That would be it.
Yes, because as you know, there was a moment where I was supposed to actually meet Joss Whedon.
Yes.
And destiny intervened.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Dreams dashed. Sorry.
Dreams dashed. But, as they say, sometimes you shouldn't meet your heroes. So
Right.
I got to meet some other cool people
That's true.
during that, which some cool people who I found even cooler after meeting them. But
Yes. That's
Yeah.
always the best.
so,
meet somebody cool.
things happen for a reason, as we say.
As we say, as many people say.
Many people say. Anyway, yeah, so he's talking about the Slayer he met. Giles forms the power circle, to kind of like hurrah right before getting on stage, right before the talent show starts.
Yep.
And so Buffy and Sid, sitting up in the rafters, can look down and see everyone there, and they're like, okay, no one was missing. Giles goes backstage and sort of sees Snyder like in the shadows. It's kind of a weird, like they're both like looking at each other from opposite ends of, I don't know,
The stage.
or something. Sort of a weird scene. And then Buffy is looking around for Sid, but then finds a brain instead.
Yeah, it just like drops in her hands or something.
Yeah, it like falls into her hands.
Yeah.
And then we cut to her saying, I am never going to stop washing my hands in the library.
Yep.
Buffy, Willow, and Xander discover Morgan had a lot of absences. So Willow hacks the school nurse file because so basically they're like, okay, the demon, I guess, rejected the brain. Why did they do that? So they're looking into Morgan. Willow hacks into the school nurse files.
And they're like, where's Sid?
Yeah, they're looking around for Sid.
Yeah, and Xander makes a reference to Kaiser Soze.
Yes. Yeah, because he's like, does anyone else feel like we just got Kaiser Soze? Like, this guy told us that he was hunting the demon, but now he's gone.
Right.
And yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so that is, of course, a reference to The Usual Suspects.
Yep.
Which was our first movie club movie.
Was it really?
Yes, I remember specifically because you guys started movie club without me.
Oh.
And then told me about it.
Yeah.
And I had to watch that
one.
one.
I don't remember that. So long ago. So hard to remember.
Yeah. You gonna hold your head and moan?
Oh, my head hurts. Gotta move on to a different subject.
It's okay. I forgive you. I'll never forget, but I'll forgive you. Okay. So yeah, they hack into the school nurse file and school nurses files to find out that Morgan had brain cancer. So the demon rejected his brain and is looking for the smartest person around.
This is just a ridiculous turd. Just so they're like,
Did you say a ridiculous turd?
Yeah, ridiculous turd of a turn in the plot here. Because they're like, how do we make one of us in danger? Oh, right. Brain. We got to reject the other brain. Go for a smart brain. Okay, now we're in danger.
Yeah, I guess. But also, I mean, the whole episode, Morgan has been holding his head and moaning and having pain and becoming weaker. Okay. Because he was becoming weaker, and that's why they thought it was Morgan, because as Giles said, like, if these demons go without getting the brain and the heart, they become weaker. Okay. And then they turn into their demon selves.
Yeah.
So
well, you really study these shows. See, I don't put these constellations together whatsoever, but you do. So I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. It's so nice of you to say. Also, anytime you're trying to, like, you know, even slightly call my show a turd, as you just did, I gotta defend it.
I said turn.
I heard turd. Yeah, so they're like, now the demon is going to be looking for the smartest person around, and they're like, that could be Willow. You know, basically the assumption that it's Willow.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Giles backstage helping the magician guy with his guillotine. And I'm like, why is this kid allowed to build a fucking guillotine in school? Yeah. Where is Snyder on this one?
You know where my brain was during this episode, or during this part of the episode, is
it's like, not on a guillotine.
Well, it actually was on a guillotine, because I was like, if I was friends with a magician, say he was the best magician, okay? Say he's David Blaine.
Yeah, no, not this crackpot magician guy.
And he's like, put your head in a guillotine. Don't worry, it's completely safe. I won't cut your head open. Yeah. But there's a real blade up there, and watch, I'm going to demonstrate on a watermelon. Now put your head in it.
It was a honeydew melon, I believe.
I don't know if any amount of money, even under the likes of a master magician like David Blaine, would get me to lay into that guillotine.
Yeah, this is sort of a dumb move by the smartest man we know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he also doesn't, you know, he's like, I don't know, Snyder's telling me to help. Like, this guy's not going to try to kill me, right?
Yeah.
A little naive here, Giles. Yeah, so he asked Giles to help him, saying, and again, it's not like Giles isn't questioning it. He's like, so what's the secret? Like, how is this working then?
Yeah.
And the guy says, you know, a good magician never reveals his secrets. Well, this motherfucker's not a good magician. So
no, he's not. Why would he ever magician. Go? Yeah. Okay.
As he says that, we see that he's got some kind of weird skin situation going on.
He's got a little bit of a rash.
Maybe, but he covers it up.
Some eczema.
He pulls his sleeve down. Buffy, Willow, and Xander put together that it might actually be Giles, who is currently being fitted in the guillotine. Buffy knocks him, we learn, the magician's name is Mark, out and reels from his gross skin. She's like, ew.
Yeah.
Just in time for Xander to save Giles from having his head sliced open.
Yeah, Xander has a hero moment.
Yeah. Way to go, Xander.
But nobody really takes notice of it. It just happens.
I know.
If I was Xander, I'd be like, did anybody see that? I want this to be marked
Remember that
in
time
history. Yeah.
when I punched a guy
And I
last
saved Xander's
episode,
head.
and now I saved Giles' head?
Yeah. The Watcher's head. No big deal.
No big deal. It's not like we need his brain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that. But I think it was just so chaotic because Buffy is fighting this demon. Then they're trying to actually get Giles out of the guillotine because he's like strapped in. And then Sid shows up to stab the demon. Then they get him in the guillotine and slice off his head.
I wrote down he's the amphibidemon.
Like an amphibian?
Yeah, because he's like kind of green and like lizard-like.
Yeah.
Amphibidemon.
Okay.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. Not great, but not bad.
Okay. And Sid says when he jumps on his back and starts stabbing, he says, I found you.
I found you. Pork and beans.
Pork and beans, I found you after I smelled you.
And then he says that he needs to stab the demon's heart.
Yeah.
And then all this will be over. And then he does. And then kill's over.
Yeah, the dummy passes out and Buffy cradles him in her arms. Yeah,
and then
very dramatic.
the curtains open up and there's a full audience, full packed house.
Yeah, packed house.
Willow's holding an axe. Buffy is holding Sid, and we've got the demon's head sliced off
Yeah.
on the stage. And Snyder from the audience says, I don't get it. What is it?
Avant-garde.
Avant-garde.
Yeah.
And then boom, end credits.
Yeah.
Now, did you watch the end credits?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
For what? Why? What's in the end credits?
So you didn't see the scene.
What scene? There's a scene? There's a post-credit scene?
Okay, I knew you wouldn't have, so I actually have the I have the link right here
Oh, okay.
because I had a feeling you wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, beer me the link.
I'm gonna beer you the link. Yeah, because you got to watch this.
Okay.
You got to look at it.
Grr, arg.
Yeah, see, you got to watch it all the way to the
Yeah, gotta
Gerard.
watch it.
Yeah, so this is Buffy, Willow, and Xander doing their talent show performance, which is a scene from Oedipus Rex. The part in that where Willow just sort of runs off stage
Yeah.
is also ad-libbed. So
Yeah, that's
Allison
funny.
Hannigan just ran off stage.
Yeah. That was funny.
I love so much when actors who are clearly good actors like pretend to be bad at acting in like that. I don't know why
And they're
that
always
just
good
always
at
makes me that always makes me laugh.
Yeah, me too.
That is the puppet show.
Wild episode.
Wild ride. we went
Wild
on.
episode. That is a crazy one.
It is actually the lowest rated episode of the entire series in
What?
terms of viewership.
Oh,
So
okay.
not necessarily like on IMDb, but
I was going to say, I like this one more than the robot one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
like the horror movie
know.
vibes that this thing had. And
Yeah.
Sid was such a creep. And Morgan was kind of weird.
yeah.
I don't know. It was all a good time.
Yeah, well, and again, that's like Joss Whedon's forte. Like, or not, maybe not necessarily his forte at this point, because he wasn't, he was still sort of untested, or he was still sort of new as being a creator. That was certainly what he loved the most. Like, he loves the horror genre. So I think bringing that into this show sometimes, we definitely get that. So yeah, it definitely has a horror vibe, a little bit of a Chucky vibe. But yeah, this episode pulled in an audience of 1.7 million households, which still seems like a lot to me, but apparently that was the lowest of
Yeah, I
the
think
entire
back in the
series.
day, I think because everybody was watching TV, that's all they did at night.
Right.
Nobody had the internet. Oh, well, they did, but not really.
Yeah, I
So
mean, we saw
they weren't
how
going
the
for
internet was.
content.
Yeah. Any more thoughts about Buffy?
Nope. You ready to move on to Lost?
Yep.
Let's move on to Lost. So Lost Season 1, Episode 9. This one is titled Solitary, and it was written by David Fury and directed by Greg Yaitanes. The episode aired originally on November 17th, 2004.
Yeah, so my predictions from last episode were my Claire baby countdown was that it wasn't going to be this episode, but next episode.
Okay.
And I had said that I think we were going to get Saeed's backstory next.
And
But I also said that I didn't think that we were going to find out who hit him.
And you got both of those right. The show opens with Saeed. He's on the beach, and he's by himself because, remember, last episode he sort of went on his own walkabout because he was all upset about the torturing, and he felt like he'd let the group down, so he left the group and
You
started
need to do some soul searching.
some exploring, some soul exploring. So he is looking at a picture of a girl that we've seen before in a previous episode, and he's sitting on the beach, and then he just sees like a rope in the sand. So he gets
Yeah.
up and he sort of grabs it and follows the rope, and it leads into the jungle.
And it's not. It looked like rubber to me.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a feather at first. I started writing my notes. Saeed finds a feather, and I'm like, nope, that's not right. It's the rope.
That is not right.
Yeah.
But it almost looks like if you were to have some kind of chain or wiring, and then like the rubber casing kind of that goes around it. That's like what it looked like to me.
Yeah, which it could be, because who knows?
Yeah.
It looks like it was leading down into the water, so it could be something.
Yeah, it wasn't like your normal rope.
Wasn't like a lobster trap or something.
Right.
Who
Well,
knows?
could be.
Yeah, maybe.
He didn't go into the water. He went the other way. So
That's true. So then we cut to Sawyer and Jack on the beach, and Jack's patching him up because remember in last episode, Sawyer got, what did he get? A knife? A knife? Was it a knife in his arm?
yeah,
Something happened. He started bleeding real bad.
yeah, like it was like in a vein or something.
Yeah, like his artery or something.
Yeah.
He says, nobody wants you here, and Sawyer basically says, like, she does, meaning Kate.
Oh yeah. So Jack says, "I'm here because no one else wants anything to do with you."
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Sawyer says she does, and then Jack goes, "Change your own bandages."
Right, he
which
doesn't
I was
like that.
I was like, "Fuck yeah, Jack! Finally, like, getting a little backbone."
Yeah. Kate interacts with Sawyer, and she expresses, or no, I think she talks to Jack, and she says that she's not happy about him and Saeed torturing Sawyer, basically. Then we cut to Saeed in the jungle, and that's where he finds a tripwire, but he steps over it carefully. He still gets strung up by some sort of trap device, and he starts swinging from a rope in a tree. So
Yeah.
he's caught. Saeed got caught.
He got caught, and
He got caught.
I wrote down who's setting all these traps and why. Like, are they trying to catch the dino demon?
Dinosaur.
You know, dinosaur.
So then we get the Lost title, and then
My
we
favorite part.
cut back to Saeed. He's still hanging, but now it's nighttime, and he's still sort of awake, but not really. He's kind of passing out. And then someone with a knife cuts him down, and that's when he passes out. So he doesn't get hit over the head this time. He just sort of passes out from the exhaustion of hanging upside down all day.
Right.
That'll do it, I suppose. Jack has helped some new guy, some random guy that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
With his hives. He's talking him through it, and he's like, they're just hives, okay? It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. And I'll
Chill
tell you
out,
what,
man.
I've had hives before. It is no laughing matter. It is the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Well, you would be this guy.
I would totally be this guy.
This guy is you.
Jack would be like, there are monsters out here and bigger things, bigger fish
I'm
to
Claire.
fry.
I'm doing everybody's chats,
You're
and you're
doing
like, I
everyone's
got
chat.
hives, and I
I'm
got
like,
these
I
other
got
things.
hives. I want to play golf. Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, I'm some combination of Claire and Sun, and I would just come by and like slap you with some aloe.
Yeah, I would
It's
need
like-
something for my hives because I would definitely have them here. So Jax helps him a little bit, and then Hurley arrives and talks to Jack, and that's when Jack starts talking about the hypochondriac guy, which is
Yeah.
me. And then Hurley's saying at some point, he says, "That's my point, man. We're all fried. Have you taken a look at everyone? They're all tense. We just need something to do." Jack's all business, of course. He's the doc. He's like, "We're surviving, Hurley. That's my main thing here. Things could be worse." And Hurley's like, "How?" Which is a great moment because I feel like this is the conversation that everybody's been having in quarantine. It's like
Yeah.
things could be a lot worse, and everyone's like, "What? How can they be worse?"
I mean, they certainly can. Because, like,
yeah,
the thing, like, what I was thinking is that, you know, like, yeah, everybody is bored, but they're also, you know, it's like they kind of both have a point. Like, to Jack's point, like, they are just pretty much trying to survive.
yeah,
But at the same time, they don't have anything going on other than like trying to make sure they have the basics of water and shelter and food. And there's like really nothing else to do if you aren't contributing to one of those things. But they're also like on this gorgeous island, which is like, you know, that's a nice place to be.
right. It's, you know, you would go there for a vacation and call it paradise,
Right.
but when you're stranded on it without cable TV, you know, probably
without
not
all
as
your
fun.
things. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Read some books, I guess. Build some
Right.
forts. I'd be building some forts all day
Yeah.
long. I love building forts.
So Saeed wakes up and someone is asking him, "Where's Alex?" And then he gets zapped.
And they're asking in a lot of different languages.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And one of the languages I recognized was French.
And then we get a flashback to Saeed questioning someone who is tied to a chair. And he's talking about, he's like, your Shiite friends already implicated you in the bombing. And he wants a confession. Then we cut back to the jungle and we see a new character here, Ethan, who is played by the actor William Mapother.
And then I wrote down, who the F is Ethan? Who's this guy?
Yeah, so Ethan, he's just a very short scene. He's hanging out with Locke, right? They're like hunting buddies or something. The character is played by William Mapother, who is the younger cousin of Tom Cruise.
Oh.
And Tom Cruise actually grew up with the last name Mapother.
Okay, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's where I know it from. Because the last name definitely sounded familiar.
Thomas Cruise Mapother the Fourth was his name. But then he just went to Tom Cruise. He's the best. He's awesome.
I hate him.
So we get the new character, and Walt.
Tom Cruise, more like Tom Poos, am I right?
We will have none of that. We will have none of that on this podcast, young lady.
More
He's a
like
national
Tom
treasure.
Snooze, am I right?
Nope. Most exciting movies ever came out.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, good. I broke you down. So Walt approaches Mr. Locke, and he wants to hunt. He wants to hunt at night with Locke, and Michael's not having that. He's like, "Get away from that man, Walt." I don't know what he says
Get
exactly.
away from that man. Stranger danger.
Yeah, stranger danger.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit. Well, we'll get it. We'll
Okay.
talk about this because we get some more of that.
Okay. So Hurley opens a backpack, and then we don't see what's in it, but we hear some clinking around, and he just goes, "Whoa, dude." Then cut back to Saeed. Saeed tells the woman who's questioning him about the plane crash and the transmission. Or no, he tells her about the plane crash and the transmission of the French woman. And then the woman emerges from the darkness while she's speaking French. And she doesn't quite believe him, and then she punches him out. So there you go. He gets punched out again. I knew it happened this episode somewhere.
And I think I feel like this is maybe the point. My notes are very.
Your notes are all over the place.
Well, they're not all over the place. I know they're sequential. I just
Yeah.
don't have a strong tie into
Sawyer
anything.
needs a fist in his face. I don't know where that is.
Nope, don't have any notes on Sawyer
Okay.
for this one. Other
He's
than
a small part of this
first,
episode.
Yeah, other than that first part. But no, I think this is the part where she's kind of like standing over him, standing over Saeed, and it felt very misery to me. Like I was like, is this
Stephen
bitch-
King again?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
she gonna
boy.
hobble Saeed? Like I was like, oh,
That
I'm
is
so
a
worried.
terrifying scene.
And one of the
Brody.
things I wrote down is like that I'm surprised we discovered her so early on. Like I just felt like I thought that the whole French transmission thing was going to be dragged on for like a couple of seasons. I never
okay.
made a prediction about that. Maybe I should have, but
Yeah, you thought it was going to be a mystery for a while.
yeah, but they've already solved it. Episode
There you
9.
go. Found out who it is. So this is where we find out her name is Russo. Saeed sees the name Russo, and he basically says Russo, and she's like, how do you know my name?
Classic. It's on a
classic.
bag right here, lady.
Yeah, it's right there. See?
Come
It's in
on.
big letters. Yeah. She tells him that the broadcast is coming from somewhere else, but they control it now. And he's like, who is they? And she says, others like you. And then Russo looks at the photo of Nadia. And then we flash back to Iraq. And same picture of Nadia. Saeed needs to interrogate her, but she knows him from childhood. So, they chat and catch up. It's a nice time.
A little chatty chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little chat,
She's like, oh, yeah, I remember pushing you down in the mud.
Right. She had a crush on him or something, That's
Yeah.
what kids do.
Yeah.
Classic. He
Classic.
tells
Kid
classic.
move.
He tells her she's a traitor to her country, and he threatens her and she tells him about her previous interrogations and shows him like some scars and stuff. And she's like, "Go on, do your work. I'm not going to tell you anything." And then Saeed says, "I'm going to hurt you."
And is that the part, too, where he says, if you are innocent, I'm sorry?
I think it was right after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
was like, wow. Because she details, yeah, you really fly through some of this stuff. I feel like I get way more detail with Buffy.
Yeah, I know. I got to play some catch up. Keep these episodes. The last one was over 2 hours. I think we're cooking on 3 for this one.
Oh boy. She's like, my feet were like, the skin on my feet was like burned off and all this stuff, and like her hands were like stabbed through or something, or they were also burned like in the middle of them.
They drilled through her hands, I think.
Yeah, and so he's like, if you are innocent, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, even if she's not innocent, that
Hey,
is
he's got to
fucked
keep
up.
up professional appearances here,
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but just
Part of the job, I
the
guess.
torture stuff is not,
Yeah, torture's no fun.
it's not good.
Yeah.
We
So-
can agree on that.
We cut back to Russo and Saeed, and they hang out. And she wants to know more about Nadia, but he asks about Alex. Then we cut to Hurley, and he's busy doing something, but he doesn't tell anyone. He's just all excited. He's just like, hee hee hee, giggling,
Yeah.
running around, grabbing stuff.
Which is like something I would do.
You'd be all excited. You're
I'm
like,
not
I'm making
telling you.
chats. Making chats. Who wants their sign read? Who wants some cocoa butter bomb? So anyways, Saeed and Russo talk, and Saeed tells her about the 40 others, and he left them because of something he did, and he's not proud of it. And Nadia is dead because of him, is what he says. And Russo rubs his face nicely and apologizes to him. So she's sort of back and forth. She's swinging back and forth,
She's interesting.
Yeah, she's sort of a little moody, this Danielle Russo. So then we cut to Michael. He drew an amazing plan for some piping for showers or something, and totally blows Jack out of the water. He's like, "Whoa, you drew this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I used to be an artist or something." And then he got into construction, so that's cool.
Yeah, he was basically creating aqueducts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some cool plans. Get this island cave, fixed up. So Hurley, we find out, was
Yeah,
working
because that's
on.
something I didn't think about. The fact that, because he's basically like, yeah, I want to do this so that we can keep the like drinking water separate from like the shower
Right.
water, which I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
If they're showering like in the waterfall that's coming down and then drinking the water, they're
Yuck.
drinking everybody's filth.
Yeah, filth water.
So
No,
didn't
thank
think
you.
about that. Thanks, Michael.
Smart. So Hurley, we find out, made a golf course. And
Yes.
where he actually builds the golf course, this has to be where they filmed Jurassic Park. Am I right? This
maybe?
looks exactly where the Gallimimus flock this way.
What?
The Gallimimus, where he's like, they're flocking this way, and then all the big flock of
Seagulls?
dinos come gallivanting.
Is that at the very beginning when they're in the
It's not
in
in
the
the
Jeep
beginning.
outside?
It's like in the middle. It's like after Dr. Grant and the two kids, they're separated, right? So they're trying to get back to the Jurassic Park Welcome Center. And they're out in the middle of this big field, and it's daytime. And it looks just like this field. And then there's a huge flock of Gallimimus, like sort of like chicken
Yeah,
looking
you can.
birds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you can say Gallimimus all you want, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Gallimimus, Sammy. Come
Nope,
on. Can't
don't.
you picture it in your brain? Gallimimus, Gallimimus,
No.
Gallimimus.
No.
Okay. So they're these like, they kind of look like raptors, but they have like a skinnier face, I think.
Okay.
And then they're all flocking together. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then they jump over like this log and they hide behind this log as they jump over them. And then the T-Rex comes out and then bites them.
Okay.
It's a great
yes,
scene.
Yes. Now I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I think this scene is from. And I didn't look into it, but I'm sticking by it that it's most likely the same location.
Well, maybe you should look into that.
I should do some homework on this podcast every once in a while.
Maybe come a little bit prepared like I do, Pat.
Okay. I watch the shows, okay?
I also thought that it looked like the same scene or the same location where when Charlie, Kate, and Jack were initially walking through to go find the cockpit.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
When Charlie's like, "You all, everybody."
Right. You're right. It does look like that.
I think it's
probably the
just
same
that
location.
Same area. Yeah.
Yeah. After the golf scene, we cut to Russo. She's freaking out, and she injects Saeed with something. Mm-hmm. That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
She didn't hobble him, but she stuck him with a needle. That's
Yeah.
no fun.
Yeah. Well, and he also offers to fix. She has a music box,
Yeah.
that he offers to fix for her.
Right.
And she's like, "You would do that?" And then, and then like shortly after that, she drugs him. Yeah. And so I wrote down carriers of disease because she says like the others were carriers. They were
Right.
carriers. And so I wrote down like of disease, like what were they carriers of?
Right.
I said the others. And then I was like, is this like the Nicole Kidman movie
The
where
others.
like she, well, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who
Yeah,
hasn't
no
seen
spoilers
the others,
for The
'cause that's
Others.
a great one. But
20-year-old movie.
listen, both of the how old is Buffy?
That's true.
So yeah, so I just was like, I need a little more information about that.
Yeah.
Danielle. And yeah, she reveals at some point that her name is Danielle.
Back to the golf course, Hurley and Jack play golf, and then the hypochondriac guy, aka me, shows up, and he
Bohan?
wants to play. He's like, are you guys playing golf? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, can I play?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Saeed-
at first he's like, "What? You're playing go?" Like it almost sounds like he's gonna yell at them. Like, how could you be doing this trivial
Right,
thing?
you're a
Like,
doctor. You
you're-
should be on the clock.
You're not helping me with my shingles. No, it's
Right.
not shingles.
No, he's got hives.
Hives.
He's got
You're not
chronic
helping me with my hives.
Yeah.
But
it's a
you
serious
can play
medical
golf?
condition, okay?
Okay. I don't know. I've never had it, so
it's
I'm
the
not trying to judge
worst.
it. I'm not trying to
It's
judge it. I'm just
the
saying that's what
worst.
this guy.
Telling
This
you.
guy is like. He shows up, and that's sort of where we think he's gonna go. But then he's like, "Oh, can I play?"
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's not helpful when people say, it's all stress, so just chill out. And it's like, okay, yeah, you know what? You chill out.
So you wouldn't want me to run at you with like slap you with some aloe and then give you some lavender tea?
I mean, that sounds kind of nice, actually.
All right.
So
Again, I'm the witch doctor. Jack
You
can
are
be
the witch doctor.
the surgeon, the whatever forensics doctor, the every kind of doctor apparently under the sun, but he ain't no witch doctor.
yeah, not yet at least. There's still time though. He hasn't unveiled all his tricks yet.
Yeah. Well, Sun's the one whipping out the aloe, and
Right.
she was the one who made the aloe and eucalyptus balm for
Right.
what's her face?
For Shannon.
Shannon.
Yeah. So Saeed and Danielle are hanging out, and he starts fixing her music box for her. And he asks about how she got on the island. And she says she was part of a science team on a vessel when a storm happened and the ship wrecked.
Yeah,
And
so she drugged him to move him. She
Oh,
said that was
okay.
the easiest way to move him.
That makes sense.
Just feel like you should mention that.
Yeah, I think I missed that. But thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome.
He asks her about the distress signal, and she says, we were coming back from the Black Rock, and it was them. They were the carriers, the others. Okay, so this is when she talks
That's
about
when
the
she
carriers.
says that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I was like, carriers of what?
Yeah.
Who are
carriers
the
of
others?
Yeah.
Is this a Nicole Kidman movie?
She says she hasn't seen them, but she hears them, the others. They whisper. Flashback
Yowza.
to Saeed and Nadia, and Saeed is trying to get Nadia to say something so he can just spare her. He's like, look, I think I can convince them, to, be nice with you and let you go or something. Like, just say this and this, give him a little bit of information, and then let's just move on. Like, he's trying to save her. And she's like, no, I can't do that. Cut back to the beach. Shannon and Boone are on the beach, and Shannon's sunbathing, and they're all talking about Jack golfing. It's like a rumor on the beach. Like, did you hear Jack, the doctor? He's golfing. We're like, what?
Can you believe it?
Yeah. And they're like, I bet he's so out of breath if he's running from hole to hole. Sawyer talks with Kate, and she tells him to make more of an effort. She's like, one outcast to another, make a little effort, will ya? And he's like, little
Yeah,
comment,
because
little
he's like,
comment.
I'm not going to a golf course.
Right.
I'm just going to sit here and be a grumpy grump.
Well, he's going to be old stick in the mud. Yeah. Saeed fixes Danielle's music box, and she's so happy. He keeps the little baby screwdriver. He asks to leave, but she refuses. And then there's a roar outside, like a big old bear roar or something. Russo says, if we're lucky, it's one of the bears. And Saeed is like, if we're lucky? He's like,
Right.
Whoa, what if it's a monster? It could be a monster. And she says, there's no such thing as monsters.
Right.
Flashback to Saeed, who's ordered to kill Nadia. And
So this was another cool sound bridge moment. Because there's like a gunshot from the Saeed, like Danielle, I think, shoots her gun.
she runs out with a gun, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's like a gunshot, and then it bridges over to Saeed's flashback of like doors slamming shut or something.
yeah.
So that was kind of and now I'm like recognizing these things.
Yeah, you're picking up on the technicals of this.
Yeah.
He's ordered to kill Nadia at this point, so he gives her a hood and like throws it on the floor and tells her to put it on. We cut back. Saeed picks his handcuffs and escapes from Russo's little hut there, her little cage hut. Now we're on the golf course. Everybody watches Jack golf, like everybody's there. And Charlie tries helping Hurley's form really quick. And Hurley's like, dude,
Hurley's
get away
like,
from me.
Get off me.
Yeah.
And I think before this is when Walt is like,
This is like right after that. Walt talks to Michael, and he sort of, does he want to play? Is that?
no, well, Michael's like, oh yeah, you can play, like just, get in. And it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of a moment where like maybe he could do a little bit more convincing and Walt would say yes, but then they're like, oh, Michael, you're up, and then he's just like, okay, it's my turn, and I'm like,
Right, my
let
turn.
your kid go.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Walt is just kind of like, and we sort of see him like turn around.
He
and
wanders
and
off.
wander off. And
Yeah.
so I wrote here, like, Michael needs to pay more attention to Walt, or like he's going to get into some shit. And I know he's like, apparently he's new to parenting.
Yeah.
But
He's figuring it out.
yeah, but he's failing a lot at this,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so Walt wanders off, and then in the jungle, Saeed gets the drop on Danielle because she's sort of walking around with her gun, and then Saeed also has a gun, and then there's a standoff between them two. They basically are in the jungle pointing the gun at each other. Flashback to Saeed trying to get Nadia to escape. She asks him to come with her, and he says he can't because basically he's like, you go out that door and you run 40 yards or something, and then you get into a truck or something like that. Like, he has a plan worked out so she can run away.
What do you mean 3 hours? We're only 2 hours recording.
I know. I like to exaggerate.
Okay.
Too fast for you? I'm blazing, man.
Well, I know. It's just I feel like I do so much more detail in Buffy. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you're the detail queen.
Yeah. I don't
Queen
know.
of
Is that
details.
A bad thing?
I mean,
Well,
no.
you would like me to rush more, but I feel like there are times when I try to rush through things, and then you jump in and you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, this thing
That's
happened.
true.
And this is
I slow you down even
yeah,
more.
so then I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to rush it.
Well,
then.
you gotta jump in and slow me down more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I have been now this episode.
Yeah, see?
So yeah, okay.
That's why it
balances out.
works.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We're
Cool.
good. All right.
Glad
keep
we
going.
covered that.
All right, hurry up. Come on.
Oh, jeez. All over the place. Okay, so he is, Saeed tells Nadia to escape, and she asks him to come with her. He can't because he said that they would kill his family, which is very scary.
Yeah.
His commander shows up out of nowhere, sees what's going on, and he's like, what? And then Saeed shoots his commander. Mm-hmm. And then there's some some dialogue between Saeed and Nadia, and she wants him to come. She's like, you can come now. Like, you have to come now. And he's like, no, I will shoot myself in the leg. So he shoots himself in the leg and gives her the gun and is like, you stole my gun. So he's this
like,
wild ruse.
Yeah, he's like, you stole my gun. You shot, my officer. And then you shot me, and then you took off, and like that's the story. Because that way, Saeed doesn't get in trouble, or he's not worried about himself. He's like you said, he's worried about his family.
But he cares about Nadia, so he wants her to escape for sure. He doesn't want to kill her. I mean, that'd be heartbreaking too.
Yeah,
that happens, and then back in the jungle, back to the standoff. What are you laughing at?
So that happens.
That was a big deal. Saeed tries to shoot Rousseau, and the gun just clicks. Just click. It doesn't work. And then she says that the firing pin has been removed, and then she says Robert didn't know either. And then they say something like, Saeed says something like, you killed them all, and she like agrees that she killed them all or something.
Yeah, there's some kind of exchange. Yeah. Maybe you should know this, Hey,
maybe you should know it. You watched it too.
Well, but it's not my show.
Between the two of us, we should know, right?
All right, I think this is an important thing that we should hit on, so I'm going to actually look up the script. Okay, so she says, firing pin's been removed, Robert didn't notice it was missing either when I shot him. Mm-hmm. And Saeed says, but you loved him. And Rousseau says he was sick. Saeed says sick. And she says, it took them one after the other. I had no choice. They were already lost. You killed them, Saeed says. She said, what would have happened if we were rescued? It would have spread. I couldn't let that happen. I won't. Yeah.
So she did kill them all, but they had some sort of sickness.
Sickness.
They were carriers of something.
Or she thinks that. It could be all in her head.
She thought that. It could be, because she doesn't seem, she seems a little...
She's maybe like,
there's something up there.
One firing pin short of a working rifle.
Weapon. Yeah, okay. I think that works.
2 cards short of a full deck.
Yeah, so that was important to look up. So thanks for looking that up. And then she says, she basically, hold on, let me catch up here.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
You need me to go back to the
hold
script?
on. No. Okay. So after they talk about that, she says something like she wants to keep Saeed around, to talk and to touch.
Because he's like, I gotta get back. And she's like, you don't know what it's like to not have anyone around.
To talk to.
To
touch.
touch.
Yeah. She sort of looks him up and down.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, oh yeah.
Saeed tells her at this point what's on the back of the photograph.
I don't give for much. Downtown. I'm just looking for some touch.
So he looks, he tells her what's on the back of the photograph.
I think that's the lyrics.
And then he hopes Nadia is still alive, which is funny because he told her that she was dead.
Yeah.
But now he's like, oh, I hope she's still alive. So that was a little misdirect there.
Yeah.
So this disarms Danielle in a way, and he asks her to come with him back to the group on the beach. And she tells Saeed to watch his friends closely.
Yeah.
And then she tells him that Alex was her child.
Oh, yeah. So Saeed tells her in this moment before she, before he tries to get her to come back with him. He says, you'll find me in the next life, if not this one. That's the writing on the back of Nadia's photo.
Right.
And that, Nadia is the one who wrote it because we actually see her write it.
Charlie is going for a par on the course and he misses. Mm-hmm. And everyone's having a good time. They're all golfing it up, having a grand old time. And then Sawyer shows up and he's like, I bet against the dock. And then Kate takes that action and so does Boone. So now it's like, Sawyer's one of us now. We're all having a good time.
Sawyer. Remember that guy? He's so fun.
He's so fun, remember? So then we cut to Locke, and he's throwing his knife, one of his 400 knives, at a tree, as Locke does. And then Walt shows up. He wants to know how to throw knives, and Locke lets him hold the knife. And then we cut to Saeed.
But he also asks, does your father know you're here?
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
So at least he asks that.
that's true.
But you know what? Not
Still
a bad
gives him a
skill to
knife.
have.
You got to know how to throw a knife.
Yeah.
Especially on the island.
Yeah, in that
When
jungle.
you're marooned on an island. Yeah. Doesn't help against a... Never mind, I can't say that. It's a spoiler.
Doesn't help against a polar bear.
Almost leaky bucketed, but I didn't.
Wow.
Yep.
Doesn't help against a dinosaur. That's what you were going to say.
You'll never know.
Oh, well, no, eventually.
Then we cut to Saeed, who's limping through a windy jungle. And it looks like the light is fading, like it's the end of the day. Lots of whispery noises all around him. And then the subtitles, because I watch shows with subtitles on, it says eerie hissing.
So, should you be watching things with subtitles?
Yeah, why not?
Is that going to give stuff away, though?
I mean, when we watched Buffy that one episode, I found out the guy's name was Borba.
Yeah, I looked it up afterwards. It's Andrew Borba. So his last name is Borba.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, but I find it funny that all they showed in the subtitles was Borba.
Borba, because that makes him sound like a monster.
Yeah.
So after the eerie hissing is the lost title. Boom. So yeah, I felt like a lot happened in that episode.
Yeah, you rushed through it and I made you stop a lot because you missed some of it. I feel like some of the dialogue you missed.
Yeah, dialogue's not my strong point.
Well, but that's what's funny because when I skip over dialogue in Buffy to rush it
I
along,
make you go back.
You make me go back.
Yeah.
And
I know.
like with Buffy, just the dialogue is so great that it is kind of hard to skip over some of it because a lot of it's
there's
just like
so
it's
much
just fun.
dialogue.
And
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of dialogue. That's the thing. I think that's why it sometimes takes a little bit longer to get through the Buffy episodes because there is so much dialogue, and I feel like
Yeah.
there's just a lot more that happens because they are telling a complete story within every episode.
Yeah.
Even if it's a part of a master episode, it's still some kind of complete, even if it's part of the big bad, it's still
The big bad.
one complete story within the episode. Whereas I feel like that doesn't really happen with Lost.
Yeah.
They're usually not complete stories.
There's a lot of short ends that we don't get.
Yeah, and I think that's what bugs me the most about this show is
Too many
that
cliffhangers.
It's not even so much that it's too many cliffhangers. I feel like we're not given enough information, but neither are the characters in the show. So it's
Right.
not like a situation where the characters are finding things out, but we just don't know them yet as the audience.
Yeah.
Like Saeed should have been asking so many more questions. This is the
Russo?
only This is the
I mean,
only
he asked
woman.
a lot. He was kind of firing a bunch of them. And
Yeah,
also, she's
but-
very unstable. So he
Well,
can't...
I guess, yeah, he's got to kind of deal with her mood. But like when she's like, they were the carriers, the others, like I would have been like, carriers of what? What were they carrying? Like that's fucking important, I feel like. And then when she's like,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as monsters and is like walking out with the shotgun. I'm like, okay, then what are you going to shoot?
I have follow-up questions. Don't go out of the hatch yet.
Well, also she's like, if we're lucky, it's the bears. If we're not lucky, what is it?
Yeah.
Like he's just like, if we're lucky, like I would be like, then what is it if we're not lucky? Because like, what if this is the only time that he sees her?
Right.
I'm like, I gotta
You have
get
all the questions.
a lot of, and Saeed, I can understand if not all of the other characters are like that, but Saeed is an interrogator.
It's his job to question.
It's his job to question.
Right. But the tables have been turned on him. He is being interrogated by Rousseau here.
Right, but once he's like freed, he fixes her music box and
Music
everything,
box,
like
yeah.
now she's trusting him, like that's where he's got to get a little bit more information, and I don't feel like he's doing a good job of that.
Yeah.
And maybe he feels guilty about the interrogation, like, and that's why he's not. But
No,
this
that's
is
not
fucking important, man. Like, this is the woman who's been stuck here for over 16 years. She's at this point the only person who knows a lot. Like, she's the, she's going to be the source of all information about this island. I mean,
Right.
like, I know he steals some maps and stuff of hers, but it's not like he stole a diary. Like if she was keeping a diary and had like 20 diaries or something laying around that was like day 1 on this island, blah,
Need
blah,
a man's
blah.
touch. Also, somebody to talk to would be nice.
Well, it's probably more like day 300 on this island or something like that.
Sure.
I assume she didn't kill Robert right away. But maybe, who
Now that
knows?
we're here, bang.
Yeah, maybe she's like, this is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, finally, my chance. Robert, he's so annoying. Always hogging the remote.
It happens with the transmission initially where they're like not asking enough questions about it. And so even if he doesn't get answers, the questions need to be asked. Mm-hmm. So like even if she's like, you don't need to know what they were carrying, or like you'll find out, or like just loses her mind and doesn't answer the question, he's got to at least ask it. And
Wouldn't you be afraid though of like getting hobbled or more strange injections?
I mean,
like, no more questions, girl with pink hair.
I'd be like, listen, boo, I speak a little French.
Boo.
I'd be like,
Start giving her pet names. Listen, Foo Foo. Can I call you that? Ruru. Danny Ruru.
This just bugs me. This really bugs me because not enough questions are being asked.
Okay. Well, this might not be the last time we see Russo. Might get more
that feels like a
answers
big
later.
spoiler alert.
I said might. She's still on the island. She didn't die. She's still there.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
that's not a spoiler.
I did say I don't think this is the last time we're going to see her. But you saying that?
I said might. I said maybe.
Yeah,
maybe it's the last time we see her. Who knows?
Okay.
You don't know.
But the way you said, like, if I had been like, well, maybe Angel doesn't like to go out in the daylight.
You've
maybe.
said this. Verbatim.
No, I didn't.
Pretty sure.
I did not ruin the fact that Angel was a vampire for you. I never hinted towards that.
No, you didn't. That was a surprise.
Yeah.
Good job.
You have no idea how hard it was.
Yeah.
Because it happens so early
I know you
on.
as a leaky bucket. You are 100% leaky bucket, so.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was Lost.
Yeah.
We talk about favorite moments at this point.
Yeah. Good for you, Pat. So
I'm looking at
proud
my
of you.
outline.
All
Yeah.
right, good.
See this? I'm getting the hang of it. Episode 9.
What,
Getting there.
What's your favorite moment of Buffy?
Favorite moment of Buffy is when Xander ventriloquists Sid and does the red rum thing and bangs him on the table. That was hilarious.
Well, my favorite moment is very shortly after that. When he loses Sid and then jumps on the table.
That was really funny too.
And he's just like, Sid's gone. Sid's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. He's on the table.
Yeah.
And Giles and Willow freak out. Where?
Yeah. Willow freaks out. Giles throws some books and papers.
Yeah, that's funny.
That, and then I also do really love the Giles Cordelia moment where he's like, your hair. And she's like, what? And she panics and like leaves. And he's like, oh, that worked.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I just kind of liked that moment too. So
favorite moment of Lost?
I think just the guys playing golf. It was such a moment of just pure joy, I think. And golf is not a sport I am into and the slightest, but I just think it was really fun to see them like having a good time. But yeah, I loved that moment. And then, but also the softie in me also loved the moment, or the romantic maybe in me loves when Saeed shoots his fellow soldier than himself to save Nadia.
Yeah, that was a pretty dramatic moment.
Yeah.
So my favorite moment of Lost is probably when Saeed finds the rope or cable or whatever it is, just because I like it. I like it whenever they like uncover a new mystery.
Yeah,
when
you
they,
like the
find
hunt.
something. Yeah, I like the stuff that like doesn't belong on the island. That's like, what's going on here? And then we get a Charlie moment as an audience member, like, guys, where are we?
Where are we?
Yeah, I like those moments. So
Yeah.
that was cool. I like stuff like that.
Cool. Which episode wins?
I'm going to give it to Buffy because it was just so crazy that it out-crazied Lost. And then for a while, I was like, this is so nuts. Like, what is this show? It actually reminded me a lot of, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark, the Nick at Night show.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. It sort of had that vibe for it, where it's like, spooky, haunted dummy, So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
This is really out there, but
I definitely see that.
it had that feeling, and I think I liked it, and I liked the silliness. There's a lot of silliness in this.
Yes.
episode.
Definitely a lot of silliness in this episode.
Yeah. But I do like Lost, and I do like the Rousseau stuff. I think that's interesting. I like Saeed's backstory, but it's not like super exciting backstory. It's not like a fun backstory. It's pretty,
Pretty
it's
intense.
pretty rough. Yeah. So it's not the most like, I don't know, interesting episode, although the Russo stuff it felt like a big reveal, but I'm still gonna give it to the dummy.
It's funny because I initially wanted to go with Lost, but I kind of feel like you convinced me to go with Buffy now. Not that we need to be convincing each other either way. I think we can have different answers, but
I think we just had a more fun conversation too about the dummy.
yeah, it is, and like, yes, I think I felt compelled to choose Lost because there was a big reveal that like we should be excited about, but I think it was just done in a weird way that didn't make me as excited. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
also,
think
you get frustrated by the lack of answers that you get from the show.
Exactly.
And this one provides a lot more questions than it does answers a lot of the time. And this is one of those episodes.
Yeah. And like the thing that I wrote down was, I felt like I was slightly uncomfortable watching both episodes because dummies also creep me out, and and because of all the torture in Lost, both the torture of Saeed and Saeed torturing others. But
also, no Claire again in this episode, right? We didn't even see Claire again. What is she missing?
I don't know. I don't like it. I like Claire.
Claire, where'd you go? Hopefully she's not laboring somewhere.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and she just shows up in the next episode. Guys, I had my baby. The chats told me to go in the jungle and have my baby.
What does this mean? I got it right? So I think I'm with you, and I think I'm gonna go Buffy. I just feel like it was, even though like it's a weird episode, it's not my favorite. I'm like, the idea of like the dummy being the demon hunter is so bizarre.
That is
but
weird.
It's fun. It is like silly and weird and fun.
So weird.
And I think you talking about it like, Are You Afraid of the Dark makes me like it even more. Makes me kind of get nostalgic about it. So
cool.
Yeah, Buffy wins.
Nice.
What do you think is going to happen next on Buffy?
Predictions. Oh boy. Buffy predictions. What's going to happen in Buffy? God, I have no idea.
I mean, you still have a running list of
I
predictions.
have a whole bunch of predictions. Can I just lean on those?
Yeah,
and
you don't
not
have
give
to,
any new ones.
You don't have to predict anything.
Because this is such one of those episodes that's just such a departure from everything.
Yeah, it's a monster of the week. It's not. Yeah. There was no mention of the master at all in any of this.
Yeah. There's no mini-me, no master, no Mrs. Calendar.
I mean,
Giles
there
didn't
was
get any girlfriends.
There was obviously the introduction of Snyder, so I don't know if you want to make any predictions relating to him.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
you don't have to, but just saying.
No, I'll hang my hat on one prediction of Mr. Snyder. Mr. Snyder is going to be a real thorn in their side for about 4 episodes, which will bring us to the season finale. Mm-hmm. And the master's going to kill Mr. Snyder, which will be sort of bittersweet. And he'll be like, oh, man, the master's back and he's killing people, but at least it's Mr. Snyder and he got his, It'll set the episode off into a crazy direction. There you go. There's your prediction.
Wow, that's a good one.
Like that one?
Yeah. So initially, my prediction was that we were going to get Walt and Michael's backstories next, one or the other, or both, and I feel like I predicted that before too. But then I was thinking about my Claire baby countdown.
Right.
And my Claire baby countdown says that she should have her baby in the next episode, according to my countdown. Okay. So I don't feel like her baby is going to come before her backstory does. So I feel like even though she wasn't in this episode, maybe next episode is going to be Claire.
It's going to be all Claire?
I really
backstory?
love it. I'd love it for her. I'd love it to. So I think I'm going to strike my Walt and Michael initial prediction.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Claire, and I'm going to go she's going to have the baby. Because I got to stick by that. I mean, I guess I could abandon it, but I don't want to.
All right. Fair enough.
Saeed is going to make it back to the beach or caves in the next episode or two. He'll tell Jack and Kate about Danielle. They'll debate whether or not to find her. And, you know, she might have lost her marbles, but she's still the best resource they have on learning more about the island and whatever it is that took the others and whatever is out there that she says is not a monster. So I don't think they can just like write her off. So I definitely think we're going to see her again, even if it's just Saeed finding her and like not like a full group fact-finding mission or something.
Okay. What else have you been watching, listening to, reading?
Dave and I have been watching The New Girl.
Who's that girl?
It's just, yeah, so that was kind of a surprise to me that he wanted to watch it because it was one of those shows that I just sort of threw on. I've already seen it. So I kind of threw it on as like background, you know, noise.
Yeah.
But he kind of like walked in to me watching it a couple times in the living room and would like laugh at it. And I was like, you want to try watching this? So he sort of jumped in and is really liking it.
Yeah. The actors in that show are hilarious.
They
All of them
are.
really
I
good.
love Winston and Schmidt.
Yeah, they're great.
I was watching The Crown.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's watching The Crown right now. It's
Yeah,
Crown Mania right now.
Well, because there's new episodes out.
Right.
And then, like I said, we watched Home Alone and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And
You're watching more movies than I am at this point. I've like only seen like 2 movies this past week.
Well, Home Alone and Harry Potter we watched over the weekend. And then I've been actually listening. Buffy has me really nostalgic for high school. So I've been listening to a lot of like the music.
I never get nostalgic for high school. Never.
I mean, basically just for media elements of high school.
Just for the music
Nothing
and
else.
shows.
Yeah, so like I've been listening to a lot of music I did back then, like Jimmy Eat World, Newfound Glory, Paramore, and Death Cab
boy.
for Cutie.
Yeah.
How about you?
Me, I have been. Well, I watched the Charlie Chaplin movie, The Great Dictator, and which you did not.
Nope.
I also watched. We watched the Wonder Woman movie, the first one, in preparation for the new one that's coming out.
Oh yeah, I
which
haven't
actually,
seen that.
Yeah, you should watch Wonder Woman. How do you call yourself a feminist and you haven't seen Wonder Woman? Come on.
Whoa,
Yeah. I'm
Hold
calling
on,
you out,
hold on.
feminist lady.
But I'm not into comic book stuff.
Don't matter.
I'm not into DC, Marvel, superheroes. Just
Don't
not
matter.
into it. Mostly because I had an ex-boyfriend who like made me go to all of them, and I was just sick of it. And I still have that bad taste in my mouth. But I do want to watch Wonder Woman. I definitely do.
It's good. The first one's good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the action gets a little ridiculous near the end. Actually, I was kind of falling asleep during the action scenes, which is not a good.
Ooh. Pat
Yeah.
Bohan falling asleep during action scenes.
I know. The comedy was really keeping my attention in the beginning, and then the action was putting me to sleep. But the action's kind of, by the numbers. Boy, I'm talking this movie down and also yelling at you to watch it.
Yeah.
It's not a good mix.
I don't know how I feel about this. I'm just going to walk away feeling the same way I did before you talked about it.
So we watched that, and we're still watching The Queen's Gambit because it takes us forever to finish a show. Mm-hmm. And I started a new book, which is going to be very exciting to you. It's called The Light on the Subject, and it's all about stage lighting, like for stage plays and such.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many pages is that?
I don't know. I didn't count. It's a smaller book. I found it at a used bookstore a while ago. And I just
okay.
picked it up the other day, and it's like, hey, I should start reading my books more because I got a lot.
Plus, then that way you can come to this and not feel like you don't read anymore.
Right. Just
You
to
don't
say
have to
that I'm
feel
reading
shameful.
something. Yeah. So that's a real
Interesting.
exciting read.
So is that gonna? You feel like that's gonna help you in your work at all, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because lighting is a big part of what I do. So
Did that
stage
help you at
lighting-
all in this episode we watched about when there was a stage?
I didn't even think about that. Maybe when I read more. I'm still at the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's very technical, which I love.
Yeah, that would put me to sleep.
Yeah, I know. It puts most people to sleep. It's like, this Fresnel light is all about soft light that you can throw far. I'm like, yes, tell me more.
And I'm like, I don't know any of these words.
What color temperature is it? Getting all excited.
That's good. I'm glad you're reading.
Thanks. Me too.
You're welcome.
It'll take me 2 years to finish that book, though. Don't worry.
Like it'll take us 3 years to finish these shows.
Oh, don't remind me. Let's just plow forward. Okay, so I think that covers everything.
All right, take us out, Pat.
Okay, so you can listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.
And Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts. I have to add that to the list here. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars. Also, leave us a nice review. Write up a little nice thing and tell everybody how much you love me and Sammy.
And how much fun it is to listen to me struggle to pronounce things.
Yeah, for us to hang out and talk about the right way how to pronounce eggs. Also, don't forget to buy your Flora Apothecary stuff.
Oh,
and
thanks, Pat.
yeah, it's good stuff. And then follow me at Bohan Film. Why not?
If you want to learn about his lighting book.
Yeah, if you want to see all of my lighting setups, which are
And
very
your Blu-rays.
fun and exciting, and my Blu-rays and my Mylars, home theater stuff.
And
come
you can
hang out.
follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at KickstreamPod. And send emails, but no spoilers, please, to kickstreampod@gmail.com. And also be sure to check out our show notes for this and every episode at kickingstreaming.com.
And remember,
Streaming
is
always
better.
with friends.
Friends.
That was nice.
That was good, huh? I played along this episode.
Yes.
I didn't
Finally.
fight you on it.
Took 9 episodes.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Cool.
This is fun.
Bye.
See you next week.